Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
It was 12:07 a.m. when my phone buzzed. I was folding the last of Callum's button-down shirts. The pale blue one he claimed was lucky for meetings. I almost didn't check the notification. But then I saw his name. Callum. A single text. I'm leaving. I've fallen in love with someone else. She's 19. I've emptied the joint account. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. I stared at the screen for exactly 5 seconds. No emotion. No heat behind my eyes. Just silence. My thumb rested on the glowing glass, almost amused by the gall of it. 15 years together. 3 businesses. Countless lies. And now a 19-year-old girl. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I folded the shirt in half, creased the sleeves with my knuckles, and placed it gently in the suitcase he left half-packed under the bed 3 weeks ago. I walked straight to the hall closet and pulled down a black leather folder I'd tucked behind the winter coats. I opened it on the dining table. Inside, copies of hotel receipts, screenshots of his private browser tabs, suspicious Venmo transactions, $87 for Sunset Cruise, $215 for Luxe Spa package. All while telling me our business wasn't liquid enough for a vacation. I had known. Months ago, when I found a lipstick stain on his gym towel. Berry red, not my color. When he started humming in the shower again. Like he had rediscovered youth. When his stories began to shrink. Late meeting. Client dinner. Don't wait up. And so I prepared. I quietly opened a separate checking account and funneled my brand name shoe shop chain's profits into it. I kept receipts, documented every missing dollar, even recorded one of his late night calls when he whispered, "She's different. She makes me feel seen." Seen? I was the one paying the bills while he flirted with teenagers. At 12:31 a.m., I emailed Genevieve, my lawyer. Subject: We proceed. I've received confirmation. Let's file the paperwork. Then I poured myself a glass of chilled water and sat on the couch. Dolly, my cat, jumped onto my lap, purring like nothing had changed. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Callum. Please don't do anything rash. This doesn't have to get ugly. I'll be back next week to pick up my stuff. This time, I laughed aloud, soft, sharp, bitter. Ugly, I muttered. Darling, you haven't seen ugly yet. I whispered into the quiet, you just handed me your confession, Callum. And I've been waiting for this moment for 6 long months. The real storm hadn't even started. By 8:00 a.m., I was seated across from Genevieve in her corner office downtown. The skyline shimmered behind her, glass and steel, just like her. He's predictable, she said, sliding the divorce papers across the desk. Men like him always are. I signed without hesitation. He drained the joint account, I said calmly. I expected that. That's why I moved most of my income 6 months ago. Genevieve raised an eyebrow. Smart. And the brand name shoe shop chains? Legally mine. Registered in my name alone since day one. He only posed for the launch photos. I handed her a folder, printouts of credit card statements showing purchases he thought I wouldn't notice. Flights to Florida for today. A 2-night hotel booking, spa treatments, all charged to our shared business credit card. Cancel the card, she said. File a fraudulent use report. I'll make sure the trip dies before it starts. I nodded. Kill it quietly. That afternoon, I called the airline, feigning a stolen wallet. My husband's card was compromised, I said sweetly. Please cancel the booking and flag the account. Oh, and send a cancellation notice to his email for confirmation. By 5:12 p.m., his text came. Did you cancel our tickets? What the hell, Nora? I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the bottle of Chardonnay I'd been saving since our anniversary 2 years ago, the one he forgot. Sipping slowly, I imagined him at the airport, smug, suitcase in hand, young girlfriend by his side, only to be told at the desk, I'm sorry, sir, but the booking has been canceled due to a fraud alert. I imagined his face folding in frustration, her arms crossed, the heat of her disappointment crackling in the air. Sheer ruining everything, he would mutter. And maybe, just maybe, she'd reply, you said she was stupid. She doesn't look so stupid now. I smiled and whispered, checkmate. That night, I went through my emails and began the next move, revoking his access to every account tied to my life. Utilities, brand name shoe shop chains admin, car insurance, Even the Spotify account I'd let him use. By midnight, I had changed 11 passwords and added two-step authentication to everything. Not a single tear, not a single crack. Because revenge, when served cold and legally airtight, tastes remarkably like freedom. His message arrived mid-morning. A digital thunderclap trying too hard to sound smug. Hope you're not too emotional, Nora. I'll let you keep the house, if you behave. I know you can't handle the brand-name shoe shop chains without me. I nearly spilt my coffee from laughing. The house, my inheritance. The brand-name shoe shop chains, my blood, sweat, and branding. He had helped pick the curtains in model shoes once. Now he wanted to stake claim. I took a breath and forwarded the deed and incorporation documents to Genevieve, just in case the lion thinks he owns the den. You'll have fun with this in court, I texted her. She replied instantly, can't wait. I'll bring popcorn. That afternoon, I changed the brand-name shoe shop's locks and emailed the staff. New access codes, effective immediately. Callum Richards is no longer affiliated with our operations. My assistant, Priya, called 2 minutes later. Is this for real? Dead serious, I replied. Tell the team. Wolves are out, queens are in. Later that evening, another text from him. You'll regret pushing me out, Nora. Everyone will see who really built this. I stared at the screen and smiled faintly. The louder they bark, the more powerless they are. I poured myself a drink, sat back, and whispered to no one. Let him roar. The courtroom lights are brighter than he thinks. Courtroom smelled of paper, nerves, and pretense. Callum sauntered in wearing a navy blazer 2 sizes too smug. His 19-year-old clung to his arm, like perfume nobody asked for. Genevieve leaned in. He brought her? He thinks this is a game show, I muttered. He'll lose his prizes by the end. The judge, a sharp-eyed woman named Linton, didn't waste time. Mr. Richards, she said, peering over her glasses. You're claiming partial ownership of Mrs. Richards' brand-name shoe shops? Yes, Your Honor. I was emotionally involved in their growth. Genevieve didn't even blink. We have formation documents, tax records, and staffing contracts. Mr. Richards' name appears nowhere. Emotion does not constitute equity. Then came the best part, my turn. I submitted Callum's bank withdrawals, hotel bookings, and airline charges, all funded from our joint account after he'd sent his 12/7 AM betrayal text. Judge Linton's gavel tapped sharply. Funds are frozen. Mr. Richards returned the $47,930 by next Friday or face contempt. His face drained. Even his girlfriend slipped her hand off his arm. Outside the courtroom, I exhaled into the cold air like I was finally breathing after months underwater. What now? Genevieve asked. Now, I said, he realizes petty kings don't rule queens. The sign of a hotel on the outskirts of town flickered like a dying apology. Callum sat on the edge of a stained mattress, phone in hand, staring at his girlfriend's packed suitcase. You said we're gonna live in a mansion, she snapped. This is a swamp with curtains. His cards declined. The joint account was frozen. My separate account, untouched by him, hummed with fresh profit from a new shoe line, ironically named Phoenix. His family finally called me. We didn't know, Nora, his sister stammered. You believed him. That was your choice, I said, voice level. Mine was survival. My branding shoe shops thrived. Customers poured in, drawn to the designs and the quiet strength behind them. I hired 3 new staff, women who'd also been burned, and we built something fierce from the ruins. Callum paced outside the dusty motel room, phone pressed to his ear. No, please just run the card again, he begged the bank. It's a mistake. But it wasn't. The mistake had been thinking Nora was weak. Inside, his 19-year-old girlfriend stood at the cracked mirror applying lipstick with a trembling hand. Her designer duffel was zipped tight. You said you were rich, she said flatly, not looking at him. I was. My wife just needs stow. Your ex-wife, she corrected, slinging the bag over her shoulder. And from what I hear, she's smarter than you'll ever be. Callum reached for her wrist. Wait, we can figure this out. She yanked away. I needed a man who could provide, not whine. You promised trips, cash, a future. Instead, I'm stuck in a motel with a loser crying over frozen assets. You used me, he shouted. Oh honey, she said, I just learned from the best. And then she was gone. Heels clicking, taxi door slamming, vanishing into the heat. Callum slumped against the wall. Alone, penniless, forgotten. And the universe, it seemed, had just delivered his final bill. Meanwhile, I raised a champagne glass in a sunlit cafe surrounded by friends. To peace, I toasted, smiling. And to men like Callum, learning that betrayal always comes with a receipt. One morning, an envelope arrived, an apology letter from Callum. Tear-stained, pleading. I dropped it into the shredder, unread. "What was that?" Genevieve asked. "Just ashes," I said, "of a man who thought he could bury a woman and never dreamed she'd rise." And I did. Not broken, reborn.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.